Hello everyone, welcome to another video where we will talk and discuss a couple of things about a certain character. In this case, we will talk about Andre Linoge. If you're new here, know that in this channel you can find my work, my portfolio. I am a Portuguese film director, but you can also find specific videos where I talk about shot types, certain filming techniques, and you can find videos where I want to discuss with you certain characters or certain movies. In this case, like I mentioned, we are talking about Andre Linoge, so I would like to invite you to subscribe to my channel and watch the other videos. But first, let's talk about Andre Linoge. Like I said, Andre Linoge is the main antagonist of a TV miniseries called Storm of the Century, written by Stephen King and directed by Craig Baxley, and I hope I am pronouncing his name right. Well, the series came out in 1999. It's about an island in Maine. The island is not real, just like most cities or locations throughout Mr. King's work. It is in Maine and it is fictional. What happens in there, and this is not spoilery, is that a huge storm hits the island and the islanders get isolated, and with the storm comes a figure that is this Andre Linoge, and it's a very peculiar creature, or a very peculiar person, and I feel like if I tell you anything else we will get into spoiler territory. I will leave a link where you can watch the video, the full film, if you haven't done already, and if you haven't done so, you are wasting your life, because it is a great piece of work, great plot, great cast in general. Probably the most recognizable people on the cast are Colm Farrell, who actually portrays Andre Linoge, Tim Daly, which is the main protagonist, and Jeffrey DeMunn, who is present in other works based on Stephen King's books, but you will certainly recognize him from The Walking Dead. Well, first things first, why do I like this movie so much, or this miniseries? Well, first of all, I watched this around 2001, I think. It was actually the end of the summer, and it was a pretty shitty summer, if you want to know. I had a couple of personal problems there. I was a young kid. I was like, I don't know, maybe 16 or 15 or something like that. But I had a couple of personal issues and I was feeling really low. And I got that on Portuguese TV, and I just saw the trailer and I got immediately attracted towards the product, and I really had to watch it. I watched it. I think that in Portugal it aired on 2 separate days. My mind was blown. I really liked the plot, all the environment. I always felt attracted towards Stephen King's locations, the way he describes it and the way they actually are, because they are based on in real life locations, and I really wanted to know a little better. I actually have a personal dream, if you want, to visit Maine, to feel like I'm inside the books of Mr. King. All the characters were really great. You know, Davy Hopewell, Mike Anderson, his wife, the kids. All the characters are really well built, and the tensions between Jeffrey DeMunn's character, who is the mayor of the island, Mike Anderson, who is Tim Daly's character, they have this tension who you can understand that starts even before the events, and the event just intensifies that confrontation, and it's really great. But about Andre Linoge. Andre Linoge, and now we're going into spoiler territory, so there's going to be a spoiler sign here. I'm going to talk about Andre Linoge and a couple of acts that he does on the movie or on the miniseries, and we might get a little spoilery here. So if you have not watched the full work, this is where you stop and go watch it through the links on the description. So here we go. Andre Linoge is around 4,000 years old. He says in the movie that he's not one of the immortals, is not a demon, he's definitely mortal. He just happens to live longer than normal human beings. And how can we say that he's around 4,000 years old? Well, it does not say it anywhere, but it implies that he was responsible for the Roanoke event. And what is the Roanoke event? Roanoke was a British colony established around the 16th century, located where it is nowadays North Carolina. And the colony basically, or at least the people that lived there, vanished completely without a trace and without any plausible justification. There are nowadays still a lot of people investigated what happened to the people there, and Mr. King actually adopted this and put this into the script. And what happens there is that Andre Linoge implies that he was responsible for the disappearance of people in Roanoke, and he says that the only clue left behind was a word written on or carved in a tree, and the word was Croton. And once again, spoiler alert, the word Croton is thrown around at least once when one of the islanders commits suicide. Well, basically what happens is that Andre Linoge comes along and he has this catchphrase, if you will, that is, give me what I want and I'll go away. But at the beginning, he just doesn't say anyone what he actually wants. He keeps saying this and writing this on the wall with people's blood actually, and he just doesn't tell them what he wants until they are all gathered, and he tells them what he actually wants and shocks everyone, and we will get to that in a minute. For now, let's just keep talking about who Andre Linoge is. So, 4,000-year-old, not immortal. The motive he has is that because he is not mortal, he needs to teach what he knows to someone else. So his idea is make all these people captive, do incredible things to them until they just hand him one of their kids. Basically, that's his motive. So he wants to take one of the kids, teach them everything they want, everything he knows actually, so that they can go on and do his works or do whatever it is that he does. He is not clear on that through the movie. We don't know what he has done before. We don't know what he is going to do in the future. We just know that this man needs a child to teach everything he knows. It is never clear that it was Linoge the one who caused the storm, or he was there taking advantage of the fact that there was a storm. So basically, you never know if Andre Linoge created the storm so that he could do his work on this island, or if he took advantage of the weather and just went there. Actually, it is never clear to how he got into the island. They don't know how he got there. He is there. They can say if it is magic, if he actually came on a ferry. They are not clear on that. The first place he visits is Martha Clarendon's house. Is an old lady. He knocks on the door. She immediately opens because, you know, this immediately gives the idea that it's a calm island. Everyone knows everyone. Everyone is friends with each other, although they have these little tensions who are normal in a small island or in a small community. But security is not an issue. So basically, he goes around and he does terrible things to people. He makes a couple of them commit suicide. while he kind of has a spell on them. He kills a couple of them directly. He makes one of them kill the other. It's really intense. It really has no low points. It's really intense from start to end. So, like I said, he wants an heir. The island has 8 children. He has them under his spell on certain points, and he basically has the parents with their backs against the wall. And the main question that I had when I watched this movie was, why can't he simply go there and take it? He could just, he's a powerful being, why can't he just go there and take it? It is not clear why he doesn't do that, but he says at a certain point that he can just simply go there and take. They had to hand it to them. And basically that's why he does such terrible things to people, just to prove that he is in control and that they do have a choice. They can choose between handing them or handing him one of their children, or they can all just die. But they can choose. It's a terrible choice to make, but they can choose. And this is why I love Andre Linoge. He is probably the most powerful villain that I have ever watched, and why, cinema and it's filled with incredibly powerful villains. Some of them people get to love even more than the actual heroes. Everyone loves Darth Vader, although he's a terrible person. He redeems himself at the end, sort of, but he's evil, and everyone loves Darth Vader. And you have lots and lots of them. But Linoge, there is not one point through the whole miniseries where you can say that this is this guy's weak point. He just shows no weakness, and he has the full control of his victims from the beginning to the end. He knows every dirty secret of every single character. Even Mike Anderson, who is the protagonist of the story, looks to have his record absolutely clean, but Andre Linoge knows this one thing that makes people doubt of him, that is that he cheated on an exam that allowed him to be the town's constable. So he knows every dirty secret, and he waits for the right moment to throw that dirty secrets in the face of their victims in front of everyone, generating this small conflicts, these huge conflicts. This guy is in control. This guy is a great inspiration to me, and I have no problem telling you right here, right now, that he was the guy that inspired me to create a character that I have on a small ebook that I will leave also in the description, that is called Mr. Harris, who is also this incredibly powerful creature that I like to think that is related to the kind of being that Andre Linoge is. So like I said, townsfolk are forced to hand him one of the children or die. And he actually makes them all have a dream of how they would die, like send him one by one, walk into a cliff and jump to the water. It's this incredible scene, really well made. The director here is spot on with this. It's a great work. You really need to watch this. At the end, and if you watch this, you know, he kind of has this small game with the townspeople where all the parents get to pick a rock. One of the rocks is different from all the other ones, and the ones who have this rock, they have to give up their kid, and Andre Linoge just takes it. And that's how pretty much all of it ends. He ends up taking one of the kids. and be the mentor of that kid. The end is also surreal because, you know, and this is a huge spoiler, please don't watch this if you have not seen the movie. The kid that gets picked is the son of Mike Anderson. He's the only one in the entire island who is against the fact of giving him to Andre Linoge. He wants to fight Andre Linoge, even though he clearly has no clue of how to do it. No one has. The guy is in complete control, like I mentioned. And he leaves his wife. After Linoge takes his kid, he leaves his wife, he leaves the island and moves to the continent where he really away. He in the end is like on the other coast of the United States. And he actually, in the final scene, he walks down the street and meets Linoge with his son. And they don't recognize him, and that is what really destroyed me, because when I was watching this for the first time, I thought that, hey, this is it. The kid is going to recognize his father, and Linoge is going to lose in some way, and they will always be happy ever after. But that's not what happens, and this is what really destroyed all my hopes in having a happy ending. Unlike many people, I don't think there is any need for it to have a sequel. I think the movie is great where it is, where it ended. I think it left a lot of questions to be answered, like where does this come from? Where does Andre Linoge come from? Why does he need to teach what he knows to someone else? What is this someone else going to do in the future? It really leaves all these questions, and that's why I made this video. I want you to help me answer them. I want you to leave the comments here. I promised I will be doing this video to the people who were commenting on the movie online. And so it is. So here it is. Leave your comments. Tell me what you think about Andre Linoge. Tell me if you think he's like the most powerful being, is the most powerful or one of the most powerful villains in movie history. I think he's one of them. I don't think he's the greatest because I'm not watched them all, but he is in complete control all the time. Remember. Tell me what you think. I would like you to talk to me about that. That is why I make these videos. Don't forget to watch the other videos on my channel or subscribe. Tell me what you think. I really want to hear from you. Thank you, and see you next time. Don't forget to watch the movie if you haven't done already. Watch it even if you've done, because it's a great piece of work. Thank you, and see you next time.